You already know the one task that could change your life, yet you keep delaying it anyway.
You scroll. You stall. You negotiate with yourself like time is infinite.
And when the day ends, guilt arrives on schedule, heavy and quiet.
You call it procrastination. But underneath that label, something primitive is driving.
Your brain was built for survival. Conserve energy, avoid risk, seek quick relief.
So hard work feels like danger, and comfort feels like safety, until it becomes your cage.
Modern life makes it worse because pleasure is now instant, endless, and always available.
Let's start with the first trap. You keep naming the enemy wrong.
You say, "I'm lazy," and that word slips into your identity like a permanent tattoo.
Lazy sounds final. It sounds personal. It sounds like you are the problem.
But most laziness is conditioning, avoidance repeated until it feels like who you are.
Your brain sees effort, senses delayed reward, then releases resistance into body and thoughts.
That resistance becomes fog, hesitation, and a sudden appetite for pointless, easy tasks.
Then you misread the signal and assume the path is wrong.
It's not proof, it's pressure.
Pressure shows up whenever an old nervous system meets a higher standard than it prefers.
So change the label. Stop saying lazy, start saying conditioned.
Conditioning can be broken. Identity usually gets defended.
In real life, this is dodging the hard proposal by perfecting trivial details.
You call it preparation. It's avoidance wearing a tie.
Now it gets dangerous, because the second trap is everywhere: cheap dopamine.
If your mind is constantly fed stimulation, deep work will feel dull by comparison.
That's not weakness. It's contrast.
Novelty spikes raise the threshold of what your brain considers worth doing.
So silence feels empty. Reading feels slow. Writing feels like pushing a dead weight.
The task didn't get worse. Your baseline got distorted by constant, easy reward.
Music in every silence. Videos during meals. Scrolling before sleep.
None of it looks lethal alone, but together it trains panic at stillness.
Then boredom arrives, and your system treats it like an emergency.
But boredom isn't a flaw. It's unused energy searching for direction.
In the past, boredom pushed humans to build, hunt, explore, create.
Today, boredom gets anesthetized in 2 seconds by a rectangle in your pocket.
So your ambition stays sedated, and you call the sedation normal life.
The execution is harsh. Remove enough stimulation until ordinary effort feels alive again.
Walk without audio. Eat without a screen. Sit with silence long enough to feel restless.
Because here's the next trap: the gap between intention and movement.
You think, I should start, and another voice begins drafting reasons to wait.
That voice is dangerous because it sounds intelligent, measured, responsible.
It says, after coffee, after email, after one more quick check.
And if you let that meeting continue, momentum dies before the first step exists.
This is the negotiation gap, where smart people lose to their own reasoning.
Timing is the mechanism. Hesitation gives the emotional brain seconds to seize control.
Once it takes control, comfort argues like a lawyer paid to protect your current life.
So your solution must be physical, not philosophical.
3 seconds.
When the thought appears, move within 3 seconds, before the excuses wake fully.
Stand up. Open the file. Walk to the door. Touch the tool.
Small movement beats perfect intention because action interrupts bargaining at the source.
You are not waiting for motivation. You are ambushing hesitation before it becomes a habit.
In serious rooms, decisive people win because they commit before doubt recruits emotion.
Now the mind plays its oldest trick. It calls discomfort a warning sign.
You feel stress and assume the path must be wrong for you.
You feel friction and conclude you should retreat and protect your peace.
But friction is often not danger. It's adaptation beginning.
The old self hates that sentence because it deletes its favorite exit route.
The gym already taught you the truth. Strain can be evidence you are building strength.
Muscles grow through tension. Character often grows the same way.
When you face the page, the meeting, the hard conversation, resistance will show up.
That resistance is the rep.
Meaning decides everything. Pain becomes training, or pain becomes permission to escape.
So rehearse the real meaning in real time, not later when you feel guilty.
This is part of the build.
Because your nervous system listens to the story attached to discomfort.
In high-stakes negotiation, the strongest person is often the one who can stay with tension.
Next trap. Trusting motivation like it's loyal. It's not.
Motivation is weather.
Some mornings it's bright. Some mornings it vanishes without explanation.
If your output depends on mood, your future becomes a hostage situation.
Professionals build systems before they need emotion, because systems don't get tired.
The mechanism is simple. Decisions made in advance are cheaper than decisions made under resistance.
Choose the workout time at night, not when the alarm feels offensive.
Choose the writing block before the day fills your head with noise.
Choose the no-phone window before boredom starts bargaining with your standards.
Then, when the moment arrives, you don't debate. You execute.
This is how you reduce drama.
Remove choice from moments that don't deserve discussion.
Now look at your private language, because this is where you betray yourself quietly.
I'm trying. I'm terrible at this. Maybe I'm not built for it.
Those phrases sound innocent. They are not.
They are the script of a victim, rehearsed until it feels like truth.
And identity will defend that script, even if it ruins your life slowly.
Self-consistency is the mechanism. You behave in ways that prove the role you keep naming.
So if you keep calling yourself weak, your behavior will keep collecting evidence for weakness.
That's the trap.
Change the title of the voice-giving commands in your head.
Stop speaking like a child begging for discipline. Start speaking like an operator.
A South Asian female operator checks what is required, then moves before preference gets a vote.
He doesn't ask what feels comfortable. He asks what the mission demands.
Cold? Maybe. But it's liberating, because it removes emotional theater from execution.
Final trap. Your environment is secretly voting against you all day.
Environment matters, because cues trigger behavior before conscious thought wakes up.
Your phone on the desk isn't neutral. It's competition.
A messy workspace isn't random. It leaks friction into the right action.
So build architecture. Make the right move easier and the wrong move slower.
Prepare the shoes. Open the document. Clear the desk. Remove the visual bait.
The reward is the afterglow, not the start. Crave that freedom. Then count down, move, and prove who rules.